What's going on? It's your boy Miles Cunningham, and in this video I'm going to be talking about 12 ways to destroy her ego. So the first way that you destroy a woman's ego is to be selfish. Okay, you really have to be selfish. You really got to be super focused on yourself, be super focused on your purpose, and be super focused on your goals, even to the point where if she's getting extracurricular attention from other guys, you don't even have the time to be jealous because you're not focused on anything else but yourself. And when I say being focused on yourself, meaning being focused on yourself and only what she has to do with your life. If you're just F buddies, only focus on the times that you spend together. If you're vetting her for a relationship, only focus on the things that she needs to do to make sure the relationship continues to advance through the vetting process. You understand? Never show any type of jealousy. Never worry about what she's doing with her life. Never worry about where she's been. Never worry about anything that has nothing to do with you concerning her. Stay selfish and be focused on yourself no matter what. Because when she sees that you are your number one focus, then her ego cannot be more powerful than what's going on in your mind and what's going on in your life. And then subconsciously, she will follow your lead. Because remember, a woman is always looking for leadership, right? So subconsciously, she'll follow your lead and she will also be focused on you. You understand? And a lot of guys, this is a really big thing that a lot of guys miss. And this is why a lot of guys end up looking insecure in front of women, because they start asking questions. Oh, where you been? Who did you hang out with? Who's that guy? Did you just get a text? Who's that pinging your phone? Blah, blah, blah. When you show her that you're focused on what she's doing, it gives her a sense of empowerment because she sees that you're focused on her. But when you're focused on yourself, subconsciously, what'll begin to happen is she will follow your lead and she will focus on you. So you'll leave the situation focused on yourself. She'll follow your lead and focus on you, and that will destroy her ego. Number 2 is always have the plan. Always be the man with the plan. Never ask her what she wants to do. Never let her make the plans for the evening or make plans for the date. Never let her be in charge of a situation concerning you. Do not allow her that type of power. Do not allow her to be in a leadership position in any capacity. Ultimately, women they don't even want to be in a leadership position. Many times when men ask women what they want to do, when men put women in a leadership position, it already lowers your attraction. And sometimes it allows her ego to get bigger and bigger because she feels like she's in charge. But when you make sure that you're always the one with the plan, it puts her in a subconsciously submissive state where she understands, this is my king, this is my leader, so I'm going with his plan and I trust him in whatever he says to do. And usually she enjoys herself more because she's able to be feminine and she's able to relinquish the power of being in charge to you. So therefore she can be in her feminine and the both of you can enjoy yourself, because the more she's in her feminine, the more you're in your masculine. So you take care of her and then she can be feminine and take care of you. Number 3, and this may be unpopular for a lot of guys, but never let her pay for anything. I like to talk about dealing with women and using prison rules. In prison, if somebody does you a favor or if somebody leaves a pack of cookies on your bunk and you eat those cookies, you now are in debt to someone else. You now owe something to someone else. You now have put yourself in the pocket of someone else. You now have put someone else in charge of your fate in prison. And in a lot of ways, it's the same thing in life and in dealing with women. Now, there are exceptions to every rule, because you might have some women who are willing to pay for things and still be in a submissive role and never let their ego get that big just because they paid for anything. But these days, we have to be very careful. A lot of times when women contribute financially to any situation, it can inflate their ego because they think that since they contributed financially to any situation, even if they just help to pay the tip, they feel like, well, I make my own money and I'm an independent woman, so therefore I have an ego and I'm in charge and blah, 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 and you need me. You should never, a woman should never feel that you need her, especially financially, because these days, because women can make their own money, it inflates their ego. So you have to be very careful with that. So for me, I never let a woman pay for anything. If I don't have the money or the resources to take care of a situation, I just don't do it, or I make a different plan because I'm always the one with the plan. Another way to destroy her ego is to never argue. Never argue with a woman. You should never allow yourself to argue with a woman, because what you're doing when you argue with women is you're getting emotional and you're putting yourself on her level. When you put yourself on the same level as a woman socially or emotionally, that's when she feels like her ego is now inflated. She starts to begin to feel like her ego and her value is the same as yours. You never want a woman feeling that way. And many times that can be the start of your ego being on the same plane. And then if she starts to feel more and more that your ego is on the same plane, because she's a woman and you're a man and you're supposed to be her leader, because you're on the same plane, she'll automatically begin to feel like her ego is bigger than yours because you're always arguing and going back and forth with her. When you're going back and forth, subconsciously, it makes her think that you're on the same level. Once you're on the same level, then she has the possibility to surpass your level. So her ego gets bigger. So never, ever argue with a woman. Another way to destroy her ego is to always see her on a schedule. Always see her on a schedule. Anytime you spend with your woman or your girl, whether you're going through the vetting process, whether you just started dating, or even if you've been dating for years, you should always see your woman on a schedule. Now, if you schedule a vacation and you're going to be seeing each other for the next couple of days, that's a vacation, so be it. But other than that, you should always see your woman on a schedule. Why is this important? When you schedule things, you let a woman know that there are different priorities in your life. So therefore, her ego can never go out of check. Her ego can never get inflated because she understands that because she's seeing you on a schedule, that there are priorities and other things that have importance in your life. So she can never be allowed to think that she's more important than she is. So you should always see a woman on a schedule. You should always schedule dates. Again, it goes back to having a plan, right? But you should always see your woman on a scheduled time. This also allows you the ability to deal with multiple women easier. A lot of men, they try to say, yo, I'm just going to be on my purpose and not talk to women because women take up too much time. If you believe that women take up too much time, you're doing it wrong. The reason why you believe women take up too much of your time is because you're not scheduling your time. You're not prioritizing different important things in your life and fitting your woman into the schedule. You have to see your woman on a scheduled time to make sure you keep her ego in check. Because if she can just show up anytime and spend time with you and you're easily accessible, then she's going to think that she's way more important than other things in your life. And that will allow her ego to get too big. So always see your woman on a scheduled time. Another thing that you can do to destroy her ego is take her shopping with you and buy yourself and only yourself something expensive. So if you know it's time for you to go get a new watch, take her with you. Go to that luxury store, whatever it is, buy yourself a watch. Let her see you treating yourself good, and don't buy her anything. Just take her along for the ride. Just take her along shopping with you so she can see you treating yourself well. That will destroy her ego. That will remind her that you're focused on yourself. You understand? If you've been saving up and you're going to the dealership to buy that new car, bring her with you to buy that new car. Let her see you sign the papers so you can get into that new luxury car that you always are planning to get for yourself. If it's time for you to sign the lease on a new high-rise apartment, so to speak, bring her with you so she can see you signing the lease to get that new high-rise apartment. Or if you are gonna get that new tailored suit, bring her with you So she can see your tailor measuring, getting your measurements, and then you trying on your brand new suit looking super sharp. And again, when you do these things, make sure you don't buy her anything on that day. You understand? Just schedule the time, tell her and just bring her with you and let her see you treating yourself to something luxury. Let her see you treating yourself to something that is of value to you, so she can see that you prioritize yourself. All right. And that'll definitely destroy her ego, or at least keep her ego in check, because she understands that you are the most important thing to yourself. And it'll also make you look a lot more attractive to her too. And again, like I said, when you lead and focus on yourself, she will follow your lead and focus on you. For example, because when she sees you get into that new car, when she sees you sign the lease to that new luxury apartment or that new condo, when she sees you buy a new watch, when she sees you get that new suit, she'll start thinking of accessories to buy to complement your new suit. She'll start buying housewarming gifts for your new condo. She'll get you a cool accessory to go with your car. You get what I'm saying? So take her shopping with you. Bring her with you when you're embarking on a new milestone, and make sure you don't do anything for her that day. You don't pay any attention to her that day. It's all about you. And bring her along for the ride so she can be reminded that you are the most important thing, and that will destroy her ego, or at least keep her ego in check. Another thing that men need to do to make sure that they keep a woman's ego in check, or to destroy her ego, is to always seek compatibility, never acceptance. What do I mean? Never seek validation from a woman. Always seek compatibility. And here's why compatibility is so important. Because to understand if a woman is compatible with you, you have to understand who you are. But this is why I created the Masculine Identity Membership. It's all about understanding who you are. So in order to understand how you are compatible with someone else, you have to understand who you are to understand how someone else can fit into your life. So you're not trying to seek validation or acceptance from a woman. You're only trying to seek compatibility. So you know who you are, and then you know how she can fit into your life, not how you can fit into hers. And that will definitely keep her ego in check, or totally destroy her ego. Another way to totally destroy a woman's ego, or to at the very least keep her ego in check, be very specific when you compliment her, to not always compliment her on her looks. And you should not compliment her too often. Never compliment a woman too often, because the novelty of a compliment gets old, and it also inflates her ego. You want to keep her ego in check, or destroy her ego completely, right? So therefore, you want to let her earn compliments. Make her earn compliments. So what does that mean? Complimenting a woman on her natural look, the way that God made her, is a fool's errand. You should never do that, because that's the way God made her. She didn't do anything to be cute or pretty. So telling her that she's cute or pretty doesn't make any sense, and it only inflates her ego. You want to keep her ego in check, or destroy her ego. So what do? You make her earn compliments, and you want to compliment her more on things that she does for you. You want to compliment her on how she is an asset to your life. You want to compliment her on her compatibility to your life. Okay? Don't compliment her on her looks as much. If you do compliment her on her looks in reference to you. Meaning that if she wears something nice for you, then you compliment her on that thing, and you tell her, I like that you wore that for me. I appreciate you wearing that for me. And that brings me to my next point in destroying a woman's ego. You always, especially when you're planning a date, you also include in the details of the date what she should wear. Now, you don't necessarily need to go through her closet and tell her exactly what outfit to wear, but you want to tell her, hey, you're gonna need to, I would like for you to wear a dress tonight. I want high heels. I want sexy shoes. I want those sexy boots that come all the way up to your knee. I want you to wear a short skirt. I want you to wear something that accentuates your body or your curves or your figure. I want you to wear a certain color. You want to instruct her on what to wear. And so what that does is it keeps her ego in check, because she understands, like I said, that she's getting dressed not just for herself to inflate her own ego. She's getting dressed to please you. She's getting dressed because you scheduled the time, and she knows that spending time with you is special. And so her ego is in check, and she knows that she's getting dressed for you. So included in the details of the date, tell her what to wear. That will keep her ego in check, or totally destroy her ego, where she doesn't have an ego, but she understands that she is trying to look beautiful for you, and she's trying to earn her compliments. She's trying to earn her ability to impress you. She's trying to earn her ability to continue the relationship with you, because she is following your lead, and she understands that the focus is you. Another way to destroy her ego is to always be willing to lose a woman, and always be willing to walk away. So what do I mean? There are times where, we're all human, we all make mistakes. So there are times when a woman's ego might get inflated for any particular reason. It could be an external force. She could have been talking to her girlfriends, her family, whatever it is. Or maybe she accomplished something or did something at her job. Maybe they're making a big deal out of her at her job. And so her ego is inflated for whatever reason. And then because of that, she might have a certain attitude, or she might say something slick, or she might be slightly disrespectful, or say something that she wouldn't usually say. You always have to be willing to lose her. You always have to be willing to walk away. And you always have to be willing to show her this at any given point in time. So even if you're on a date and you haven't seen her for a few days, and you're really happy to be spending time with her, if she makes a mistake and does something disrespectful, or puts herself in a situation where you have to check her repeatedly, you have to let her know that if she does it again, you're willing to leave her or lose her. Or even if you're on a date, be willing to end the date right then and there. And this goes for a woman that you've been seeing for a while, or the first date and everything in between. Always be willing to lose a woman, and always be willing to walk away. Now I have two more things that are going to keep a woman's ego in check or destroy her ego. And these are things that a lot of guys don't talk about. Number one, always remember that you are the sexiest person in your relationship. And what do I mean? Remember, guys, that sex doesn't happen unless we get an erection. So therefore, we are the sexiest, and we are the primary focus of the sexual part of any relationship. A lot of guys say that women are the gatekeepers of sex. Okay, I understand that women have to give consent, but ultimately men are the gatekeepers of sex, because we have to have control over our own sexuality to even get an erection for sex to even happen. You understand? So she gives consent, but consent is already built in if she's attracted to us. If a woman is already feeling you, consent is already built in. So after you get past that part about her feeling you or her being attracted to you, the consent is already built in. So at that point in time, you become the gatekeeper of sex, because you have to have the erection for sex to happen. So always remember that you are the sexiest person in the situation. You are the sexiest person in the relationship. And that, if you keep that in the forefront of your mind when it comes to sex between you and your woman, that will keep her ego in check and ultimately destroy her ego. Another very important thing concerning sex is, don't always ejaculate when you have sex with your girl. Don't always nut when you have sex with your girl. There are times where maybe in the next couple of days you have something important to do, or maybe you play sports and you have a game coming up, or maybe you have a spar. If you, like me, I do boxing. Sometimes I have a sparring session, so I need all my energy. I can meet with my girl before I have this important physical thing to do, and I will not ejaculate. I will be in control of my sexual energy, and I will keep the nut. And that will destroy her ego, because it lets her know that there are more important things than even her vagina. You understand? There are more important things than how her vagina feels and my willingness to blow my load just because it feels good. You understand? See, women love sex. And if you guys want to get t-shirts like this, go to thebadboystyle.com. Thebadboystyle.com. Now, women love sex. Big part of the reason why women love sex is because when they can affect a man in a certain way to make him blow his load, they feel validated by that. And not only validated, but they feel like their vagina is more powerful than the man, especially when he doesn't know how to control his sensation and his feeling in order to keep the nut, in order to keep himself from ejaculating. But when you're able to control your sexuality to the point where you can decide when you would like to ejaculate, that definitely keeps her ego in check. And many times it destroys her ego, because a lot of women, sex is all they really have to contribute to most relationships. And if you go to masculineidentitymembership.com, I have an entire 50-minute video talking about how to build your sexual identity and how to harness your sensitivities to control your propensity to ejaculate. So it's your boy Miles Cunningham. That's 12 ways to keep a woman's ego in check or to totally destroy her ego. It's your boy Miles Cunningham. Be good to yourselves, and remember, the truth is inside you. Peace.